30-odd million people on Instagram. But just to say, well, I read somewhere there were no rapes and abuse would go against your own narrative.
All right, guys, I'm taking a chance. I'm just putting it out there immediately. Like, I usually don't do the like and subscribe immediately. I'm going to need y'all to like and subscribe this one and hit the notification bell. Because when I tell you I'm taking a chance with this one, oh boy. Okay? Okay, let's get into it.
Would that be fair? Yeah, c'est moi.
Okay, I'm not gonna. All right, let's not get too far. Like, you know what I mean. But this is the debate that I have been waiting for, because we know Dan Bilzerian's positions, and we know that he couldn't wait to get to Piers Morgan, and here it is.
Different lifestyle to the one you have now. So my first question is, who is the new Dan Bilzerian, and why have you given up the other guy?
Well, I think I took hedonism to the end of the earth, and I just realized that it didn't bring me happiness. So I started focusing on things that I like to do, and did less of that.
I read that you were at your peak with the women, for example. If you only slept with 2 women a day, you thought that was a disappointing off day. And now you're down to just 1 woman. That's a pretty dramatic shift in your lifestyle, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, it was up to 9 at one day at one point, and it was just, it was a lot. I think a lot of that is probably fueled by insecurity from high school, not getting as many women as I wanted, and like I said, I just kind of took the pleasure seeking to the end of the earth, and with pleasure, I think it's kind of functions like a drug, to where you need more to get the same feeling, and then eventually you have to do it to not feel like shit, and so... yeah, I just cut off the hedonism.
You even disappeared from Instagram for nearly a year. You only came back in May. Why did you do that? What was going on in your world in that period?
Well, I mean, I was writing a book. I think that was a big focus, and that took a lot of time. And then I was just pretty much over it. I looked at social media like a video game that I beat and that everybody else wanted to play, and I was just kind of tired of playing. And the only reason I really came back was because I felt like I had this big platform, and I really disagreed with what was going on in Israel, that we were funding this genocide. And so I felt like I had an obligation to use my platform to say what I thought was right.
I'm going to come to Israel, because you've said a lot of controversial things about that war. But before we get there, I just want to explore a little bit more.
No. So, okay. I wanted to play that introduction because what Piers Morgan is doing is he's smearing him before they get to the meat and potatoes, right? He wants the audience, I'm not even speculating, I feel it. He wants the audience to know that this is a guy who is dirty, if you will, okay? He's a dirty guy. And also even him saying, oh, I heard that now you're only sleeping with 1 woman a day. So it smears even the good work that he's trying to do with his life. I do not know Dan Bilzerian, but nobody is, redemption is for everybody, okay? Nobody is beyond redemption, period, okay? So he's there changing his life around. He probably didn't even mean to do it. He's very transparent about the fact, because when he's saying, like, I slept with 9 women a day, that is crazy to hear, right? That's like insane. Okay, and he's totally transparent. He says it comes from high school, and I couldn't get any woman, and it's insecurities, and and then I overdid it, and these were vices, and he's saying this was my addiction. That takes a lot for a person to say. And Piers Morgan just wants to brush through it because he wants to lay out all of the bad things, so he can dirty him up a little bit more, okay?
And the clear apartheid that's going on here.
You went on a Patrick Bet-Davis podcast. He's a friend of this show. You said the Jews killed JFK. and that Israel wanted October the 7th to happen so that they, Israel, had a reason to take the land. Let's just discuss those two things. What do you mean the Jews killed JFK?
So I believe that was an Israeli Mossad operation, and they've committed multiple false flag attacks. I mean, the USS Liberty, you've got the Lebanon affair. I mean, so they've got a history of doing this, and I don't think it's crazy to think that they were involved in that assassination, and that's the reason that Trump didn't want to, release those files. And I think clearly it had to be embarrassing. Otherwise, why wouldn't he want to release it? And that's the only thing that I could think of that would be embarrassing, because everybody from that time is pretty much dead by now. So it would make sense. I mean, they wanted to cut off, it's now AIPAC, but the Zionist, organization that was doing all the funding that should have been registered as a foreign entity. And, he wanted to register them under FARA. He wanted to, take away their ability to have nukes. And, they didn't like that. So I believe that they killed JFK.
But just to be clear, I mean, you have absolutely no evidence that any Jews killed JFK, do you? Nothing.
Well, I mean, that's not true. I mean, Jack Rubenstein, that was the person that killed the supposed Patsy Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, he was a Jewish mob guy. And, there's been numerous documentaries tying the, Jewish mafia, the CIA. I mean, I wasn't there, but everything that I've seen evidence-wise points to Israel.
Really?
And they're doing it in Epstein Island. They did it in Epstein Island. I mean,
Yeah, but here's the problem I have with this. You say everything you've seen, right? It just seems to me like you see a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. I've read a lot about the JFK assassination. There is zero evidence that any Jews killed John F. Kennedy.
So I have to be careful with how I speak, but let me just say this. This is where I have a problem with foreigners like Piers Morgan capping an American from what they're trying to figure out, generally speaking, right? Also a veteran too, by the way. Yes. So automatically Piers Morgan feels, what is the word? He feels almost, what is the word? Not promoted, emboldened to tell an American that they are doing theories, okay? When they just want to look into something that we've still not had the full story. Okay, something happened in this country for everybody to see on national television, and you mean to tell me, and that was like it was in the 60s, right? And you mean to tell me in 2024, we still don't know the official story? Maybe if people knew the official story, we wouldn't have to keep going this route, right? And maybe you should just let Americans ask any kind of questions they need to ask. Who are you to automatically refute him as theories? He's asking questions, and he's seen certain documentaries that you probably don't want to watch.
Zero. Unless you want to go off into some mad conspiracy theory rabbit hole. And I say to you that you make these big statements and you have a huge following of people, many of whom will think, well, wow, if Dan Bilzerian says it, maybe it's true. And that way, I would argue, this is how a lot of conspiracy theory stuff in the end gets propagated and promoted to the detriment of society, because people like you who are very smart, there's no question of that, and very successful and made a lot of money being very successful. I'm just curious why you want to be so inflammatory without actually having any evidence. And as you say, to just sit back and say, well, I wasn't there. Well, I wasn't there. Obviously, I wasn't even born. But I know that there's no credible evidence that Jewish people killed JFK. And yet you just say it as a...
By the way, he keeps purposely using the other name. He said Israel, right? So you're trying to be funny. Dan is so measured and balanced and chill that he's letting this go. Me, I'd be like, pause right there. Stop calling my question theories, okay? And secondly, stop putting words in my mouth, because that's not what I said, all right? And I would have had facts from what I saw, right? And why I would have had them memorized, right? Just even 4 bullet points from anything that I might have seen. And why I would have had that, I wouldn't have got a single one of those facts out, but it would have showed the audience that when I would start spitting facts, he would stop me.
Fact, as if somehow we should just believe this.
No, I didn't say it as a fact. I said that's what I believe. And if you look at, the history of people that have criticized Israel, Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, JFK, Nixon, they all have similar fates. And so I don't think that's a coincidence. I also think that today a lot of, quote unquote conspiracy theories have all come true. So, about 2-3 years ago, being a conspiracy theorist, you were a nut job, wacko, whatever. And now it's just like every single one of them seems to be coming true, coming to fruition. So I don't know. I think once you see the government lie to you and lie to you on a scale like they did during COVID, you start questioning a lot of things.
And then you can't keep using that word. So, like it gets even more, and there's certain of them I'm not going to go into because unfortunately, I have to be careful. All I can tell you is that I promote for people to ask any question about anything. Let me tell you something, okay? I was told to get over slavery. That's what I was told, right? They told me that. They told me to question it, get over it. Not that it wasn't just black folk who were slaves. And so I said, you know what? Let me dismantle this thing. And found out that it wasn't just black people in the world that were slaves and all of this other stuff, right? So why is it that there's a certain foreign nation that I can't question? And why? Are we still doing this?
That war, I think, is completely nonsensical. My brother fought in that war for the British Army. He wasn't ordered into that war by Israel. It was a decision taken by George Bush and Tony Blair. It just seems to me that when people have accused you, if they have, of being anti-Semitic, this is the reason why. It's because you look everywhere for a reason to blame Israel for absolutely everything, even when there's no evidence that it was Israel involved in the actual orders that were taken. There is no evidence that Israel ordered the Iraq war. It was taken by George Bush's administration with the help of people like Tony Blair.
Well, we went there because Netanyahu testified in front of Congress that they had weapons of mass destruction, which was a total lie, and it was a lie to benefit Israel because that was an enemy of Israel. So what I'm saying is they're the beneficiary of what we are doing, and it's not in the best interest of the United States. So clearly they've got control over our politicians.
Yeah, to be clear again, though,
I'm not saying our politicians are Jewish. I'm saying our politicians are doing what they're telling them to do.
Right. Well, that's slightly different to what you did say. And you said on Patrick Bet-David's podcast as well, they play the victim card so effing much about Jewish people. Do you not understand why Jewish people might feel a sense of victimhood, given that 6 million of them were killed?
I'm going to stop right there. And I can't, I'm sorry, I know, they'll shut it down. I've been working really hard for it. We'll have to do a live about this. Do me a favor. If you made it all the way this far, drop a comment below. Let me know. If you want me to do a live on this, I will, because I can simply unlist the live. I really will do a live on this. I'll just simply unlist it afterwards, or I'll get rid of it afterwards. But I just need to know that people want a live on this conversation. But let me just tell you this. What I am hearing Piers do is provide excuses. It's really funny, right? It's so funny that for one group of people, they can be victims and they have a reason, but another group can't. And I don't want to be a victim. Believe me, I don't promote victimhood for black folk at all. In fact, you can find massive footage of me saying, stop being borderline, everything isn't racism. But there's only one group of people. He's doing it right there. Pierce is doing it right there, where he's saying, no, they have a right to be still in this mindset of victimhood. I do have a problem with that, because rules for thee and not for me, is that what it is? I don't understand. Why do I have to release all of this, emotional feeling about certain things, which, like I said, has helped me, so I'm not mad about it, right? But we still can cudgel others, right? That's a problem. That's a problem. This whole thing right here is a problem. That you feel comfortable making up excuses for people about something that you didn't have anything to do with. I didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't, okay? Also, then you see somebody like Dennis Prager will tell you, well, black people, they're victims and everything, and Jews aren't victims, and it's like, well, Pierce is saying that you have every right to be a victim, right? What's going on, right? So this interview really did have a lot more heated moments, but I'm at a position where my hands are tied. You drop me a comment. Let me know if you guys want to see the rest. Shout out to Dan for even going out there and trying to stand on his position and what he's seeing and how he's feeling about things. The beautiful thing about the First Amendment is that people don't have to like you just because of your race or whatever religion, I don't know what it is. They don't have to like me because I'm black. They don't have to like you because you're Jewish. They don't, right? And our First Amendment right protects people to not like you. I accepted that. I'm fine with it. That just means that I don't need to go to said person, right? Somebody has to make me understand why this is still the topic. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.